Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg from Jerusalem, and tonight we're going to be doing another 10-minute class on the ascendant with the ruling planet in the different houses. And tonight we'll be doing Taurus ascendant and Venus in Scorpio. Again, it's a very interesting combination here. When a person has the ruling planet in the 7th house, he feels very connected, they feel very connected to other people, right? Because the ruler of their first house is in the house of the partner, of the marriage partner, or in general, it rules the other person, the other people, right? It's the first house is you, the 7th house is the people who interrelate with you in the lifetime. The main one, I guess, is the wife, right? Because the opposite of the man is the woman. In Adam Rishon's chart, we see the Adam is the first house, Eve is the 7th house. And so when you have the first house in the 7th, there's always going to be a desire to first of all, there's going to be an interest in marriage, right? They have the ruling planet in the house of partnerships. When we're talking here about Venus, that just intensifies things, right? Because Venus is also the planet of love, and it's the natural ruler of the 7th house. So it's a very, very pulled after the 7th house, the house of partnerships and relationships and things like that. And so when you see a chart like that where they have the ruling planet, especially that it's Venus in the 7th house, relationships are going to play a major role in that person's life. When we're talking now about Venus in Scorpio, Venus now is in detriment in Scorpio, because Scorpio is a Martian sign, and the Martian sign, Venus, the planet of love, has a hard time working through Martian signs. Again, we're talking about the difference between we already did Venus in Aries. Venus in Scorpio is different, though, than Venus in Aries. It's a different type of Mars. It's a defensive type of Mars, where they a lot of times they try to control their partners. A lot of times they get very jealous. It's a sign of it can be a sign of a heavy type of jealousy, right? Because they're trying to protect what they have, right? The people they protect their partners. They're worried their partners are going to leave them, and so they get jealous in order to keep them. To make them afraid to go away, and they make all this trouble, and so that's definitely prevalent with Venus in Scorpio in the 7th house. I've seen cases of a lot of jealousy, especially if there's, say, Saturn is also involved, or other tough aspects with that Venus in Scorpio. And the person has Venus in detriment there in the 7th. They always want to try to prove themselves. They want to, they want to show everybody that, there's a planet in detriment in a strong position, and the 7th house is a strong house. They overemphasize. They overplay their hand, right? And as they feel weak, so they act strong. And but it can be sometimes a difficult combination. The Venus in Scorpio, and it's interesting. Venus is the planet of love. In Scorpio is a very fixed sign. It's an emotional sign, and it's very fixed. So it can really go either way. Sometimes I've seen a lot of people with Venus in Scorpio. Right, Venus in the 7th house is known for being philandering. Right, it's hard for them to stick with one person. And here you got Venus in detriment, which is going to be very heated up, right? It's going to be in this water sign, a Martian water sign. So it's very strong sexually. But in this case, with Venus and Scorpio, it can go either way. I've seen it. Sometimes a person is just very, very stuck on one person. It's very hard for them to change their emotions, right? To move their emotions from one person to another. And so they can stay stuck with somebody their whole lives, but they can get very jealous and very tempestuous relationships and things like that, very heated relationships. On the other hand, sometimes they can go overboard. They can have periods where they go overboard because it's so sexually powerful, that combination, that they maybe go to search out a lot of different partners and things like that. I'm going to do a chart tonight. Let's just take a look. I don't have that too many in my collection. Let's see, in my collection I have a chart of an actor. His name was Art Carney. He was a famous actor actually in America. He was a television star, very popular actor in America. And so he has actually 4 planets in the 7th house in Scorpio with the Taurus rising, right? So the Venus is his ruling planet, and it's exactly conjunct the Sun, which brings, of course, Sun is honor, right? So you get honor. And he was very, very famous. He won top awards, and he's just a very famous man. And he had the Venus there in the 7th house. And it's interesting. He married his, what I learned from reading his biography, he married his high school sweetheart in 1940. He was born in 1918, so when he was 22, he married his high school sweetheart. Then they got divorced, I don't know when. And he married somebody else in 1966. And then 10 years later, he and his first wife, 10 years later he got divorced, and he remarried his first wife in 1980. So you see that the attachments never go away with that. Scorpio and Venus and Scorpio, they have this stuck attachments. They can't. Once they get attached, it's very hard for them to break away, and therefore they can become very jealous and things like that. And they always have a very tempestuous type of relationships, and especially when it's in when that Venus is in the 7th house. Okay, and I thank everybody for listening tonight, and I hope they enjoyed the class.